was like, all right, choose between that and Chen and Jakiro and Undying and just pick me one of those. And then Metrum just finds a way to make it fit into the draft, and he does that, plus opposition analysis, plus replay analysis, all on his own. So it's just so much that one guy is doing that, you know, the entire team can't think highly enough about him. You know, Storm has come out and said that he thinks Entity would be about only 70% of the team that they were if they didn't have Metrum there, doing essentially the job of 3 people.
Just the value of coaches, and a big reason why we see kind of towards the TI stage, and I mean that you should always have it, but where, you know, extra hands come on deck. We always see the analysts coming on. I mean, Boom just brought in a hire as well. We just saw Soniqs even pick up Clairvoyance as well. So yeah, a lot of people are trying to add the extra members to try and help out and get that slight advantage.
Every little bit helps, you know, even just the mental side of things. I think that's where Liquid felt a lot different during those last chance qualifiers compared to previous LANs and previous years. I mean, from all of their social media, I didn't really see any other people there that isn't normally part of the Liquid crew, but maybe just more of an emphasis on some of the mental aspect, the mindfulness perhaps coming through from one of their existing coaches, and that's something that's being drilled into them by the team. But yeah, for this one, I don't know, how are you feeling about the Sven early on? It's something that Katami really likes to play. It enables you to have a little bit more survivability against the, for the Leshrac and for the Silencer, or indeed it might just be a position 1. You know, you get early points into the cleave, you could deal with the Eidolons relatively well, and then even for the later parts of the game, they're maybe protecting against the fact that Morphling might be set to come out here. I mean, it's a strength hero, right? So you don't really care as much. Of course, having your Staz resisted stolen doesn't feel great, but much better than attack speed.
I think it covers, importantly as well, the Silencer and the Leshrac, which are 2 heroes that have some really low armor. Leshrac in particular, like you can have some really big difficulties against a hero that solely does physical damage. So I think just besides the points you mentioned, I think he can be played in multiple roles, which is a really nice thing for Entity down at the later phase. But just at the moment, into the Lesh and the Silencer, you really like having that bonus armor. It's going to get a lot of value now against the Terrorblade. As a core-to-core matchup, though, it's you'd feel pretty happy for the Terrorblade. Sven can kind of deal with the illusions, but also, that being said, like, Terrorblade has a crapload armor, so it can be difficult for Sven to manage into that. But the Warcry looks very, very good this game already.
It does. It's a lot of burst. That's the thing that I'm... if I'm on Beast Coast, I would be mindful of, right? Because TB illusions can melt pretty quickly. Sven, once you pop the God Strength and you've got the Blink Dagger, you can burst down even someone like a TB pretty early on, assuming that you've got the stun combinations coming through from the Leshrac as well. So we'll see if they're able to accomplish that. Of course, I think what Entity need is just someone that's going to be creating a little bit of havoc. Most likely this Leshrac is going to be played in the mid lane, and they just want someone to be able to dive the back lines. I think someone like a Venomancer that makes that a little bit more difficult with being able to, you know, set up your territory, essentially, makes that much more challenging. And, well, it's a little slower of a dive than I was wanting, but the Brewmaster still kind of fulfills that role.
So I think for Entity, with how this is shaping up at the moment, their late game is going to be a little bit scary versus the TB. You have been able to address the BKB Black Holes with the Silencer. And if in a good Brewmaster game, you can very much address the Terrorblade as well, but he will have a window with BKB where he can just kill 2 heroes and all of a sudden the fight looks very difficult. Like a prime example as we saw in the early game. Brew, sure, you can cycle in the TB a couple times, but as soon as your Primal Split expires, or if they get kills early on, all of a sudden your team fight crumbles. So I think for Entity, for them, they have a very big window just to try and get a high net worth lead early on. Then all of a sudden this game looks pretty difficult for Beast Coast to play.
I think you're going to get insane value out of the Wind Panda as well this game. Not just for, you know, tossing someone up into the air, but for the Dispel Magic. Against the Terrorblade, of course, it deals with the illusions really well, so that makes Lesh's job to burst them down even easier. But even on top of that, you know, it hits teammates as well at the exact same time. So if you're going to be able to remove the Venomous Gale, if you're going to be able to remove the Reflection onto these heroes like the Sven and the Lesh that want to be in the middle of a team fight, that's going to be enormous, you know, just to make sure that they're not being kited around quite so easily, and they don't necessarily need to commit with their BKB so early on.
Interesting read from Beast Coast, banning out the Zeus. So thinking that the Leshrac is a potential for it to be played as a position 1?
I would assume so. It's still solid enough, right, against the Enigma. Some damage coming through from the Lightning Storm in particular, just able to hit onto multiple units. They made that change recent-ish, didn't they? Where Lightning Storm now hits onto 5 targets instead of 4 at the very beginning. So that makes the laning a little bit easier, assuming that there's no creeps there. Then it's going to hit onto all the Eidolons plus the 2 heroes. And if there are creeps there, then you hit the hero and all of the creeps. So yeah, not too bad.
So for Beast Coast, we're looking for the position 5 here, still yet to be picked up for Stinger. What do we feel like are some of the flaws they have? Because they've got Team Fi, without a doubt, with the Veno and the Enigma.
You think they're not running Veno 5? I think they could.
Okay, well, okay, sure. So potentially see Smile Hero then to be picked up?
Yeah, I think potentially. Really wouldn't... I was about to say Pango, but it's been banned out. Bloodseeker, not really the pick, but they banned that too. Just really wanting to protect this Leshrac as much as possible. Leads you to believe that, you know, they are putting so much more priority into this Lesh, right? So more likely to be Pure's hero. Even just some dedicated bans for C-Smile too. Getting rid of the Shadow Fiend, his favorite hero. So just trying to make him as uncomfortable as possible. Could they look to do? I mean, is Bat still in the pool? No, they've actually banned it out on Beast Coast themselves. Ember, yeah, not feeling super great about it. Honestly, a puck wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah, I'm down for a puck. I'm trying to see maybe if the bans look to reveal anything too much. I think just Invoker Zeus to be able to deal with the Terrorblade is a big thing for them. I think regardless for Beast Coast, like I'd like someone to really make plays. So if you do put the Tiny still mid and then go for your position 5, or if you Veno 5, Tiny 4, because I think there might be some issues with the early game and how active they can be, because Entity, they don't have issues at all. Like you can just run from tower to tower thanks to the Lesh and whenever the Prime will split up as well. So that's a bit of a concern I have with Beast Coast lineup at the moment.
Didn't Chris Luck have that period where he played the Veno mid? I feel like he did.
Yes. He definitely does. I don't think they're going to do it this game.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but I'm kind of taking it out of the equation now. But he could still do it.
He could. I'm more confident with the puck, to be honest. I feel like you get combos and that, and okay. So maybe it is the Venom mid. Just really wanting to slow down. I mean, we saw with how it was being played in those previous games, you didn't really buy the BKB super early on, right? So if you're able to just get a lot of slowdowns, it means that this Sven, assuming it's played as a position 4, can't really just run around quite so easily in a lot of these team fights. I don't hate it, and they're just banking on the fact that maybe their carry-to-carry matchup is better. This is going to do a lot to slow down the game for Hector's TB to really influence.
Let's see what the last pick's going to be here for Entity. Still a lot of flex for them heading into the 24th. They don't have a whole lot of time left.
I have no clue, so I'm going to say Meepo. Damn, Pudge. Close.
Pudge
yeah, it's fine, in my opinion. Like, you're able to deal with the illusions. It's not the illusions, the Eidolons somewhat. Question is, who's playing what? That's the bigger question for me. With Storm playing the Lesh. The Veno mid.
Yeah, Veno mid. All right. So, firstly, Veno is going to be able to deal very nicely with the Pudge. I wonder if we get a core silencer. I think Pure has been attempting that. In some of the pubs, they're holding out for quite some time.
I don't think we'll see a Fishman Pudge. That's the
Come on.
the only issue now. Fishman Silencer. It's to be expected, right? He's been playing a little bit.
I do not particularly like the Abaddon pick. A concern with me about this is the fact that you really do not like silencers at all. Like, this is a hero that your biggest way to counter an Abaddon is silencers. You can't purge it off. You can't use any of your spells to help your teammates. You're pretty much you're useless 5. And the Brewmaster is arguably one of the better offlaners to deal with defensive supports as well. So I really struggle to see the value they're going to get out of the Abaddon. I think he has to. really, okay, the value that I can see, the little bit of value is he probably is going to help out in the Terrorblades lane. Besides that, I'm concerned on how much he will be able to provide impact in this game after that.
So maybe it was just kind of a thing of, all right, let's just bank on our lanes to go really well, right? Because Venomancer wins most of his lanes, so just toss him mid. You know, even in a 1v1 matchup against a Leshrac, it's going to be fine enough, right? And then TB Abaddon, you don't necessarily win the lane, but TB gets his farm, and you should probably be winning an Enigma tiny lane with Whisper and Gojira playing together. So I'm still holding out some hope for Beast Coast, but I think Entity might have a slightly superior draft coming through here. It's really just that they're all in on the Terrorblade right now for Beast Coast, which, to be fair, has been their MO for quite some time. Hector, at one period, had a few months where he was legit the best carry in the world. So clearly they're putting in the faith in him to be able to bring that magic through to TI-11. Yeah,
we'll see if he's going to be able to do so. Like you said, was really a lot of people respected him and still respect him in particular is his farming speed. Like, everyone knows that this man can farm at such a rapid rate, and we'll see how the matchup's fair, because honestly, like, in this game, a late game Terrorblade is very, very good against a Leshrac. This is a hero that has some big armor issues, and the TB can bring you down from afar before the Lesh is able to get on top of you. Kind of similar to the Pudge as well. This is another hero that has armor issues. Both the Lesh and Pudge are very good versus the TB early, but late game can often be an issue. But I think this game might be very different because you have Katomi with the Sven. As I hold that thought, because a beautiful start from them.
Nice Hokori.
A stun to the hook shot, Storm with a follow-up as well with a split earth, and he will tick out as Fishman finds first blood.
You see, he tried to put down a tree there to be able to block the vision, not to get that last right click off. So even just losing a little bit more of that net worth. Not that Abaddons have a huge amount to be able to start with.
See if there's any contestation. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. He's going to go for the other rune instead from Gojira. So just really quick on the point prior again. Like, usually I'd be very comfortable with TB going late game into some of the heroes on Entity. I think it will be a bit different though this game because of the Warcry. Like, this is an incredible Warcry game, man.
It is for sure. And, you know, Katomi is someone that loves to buy the Aghanim Shard as well pretty early on. You just get that bonus 7 armor passive, not even worried if you get the jump off, right, with the Tiny or the Enigma coming through. So, yep. Looking pretty solid. And, you know, Katomi is someone that loves to buy the Aghanim Shard as well pretty early on. You just get that bonus 7 armor passive, not even worried if you get the jump off, right, with the Tiny or the Enigma coming through. So, yep. Looking pretty solid, and they're going to pair him together with Pure up in this top side. So still just wanting that AoE damage to be able to deal with the Eidolons, I suppose. Of course, the meat hook does help if you get the pickoffs. You can set up for a lot of these kills with the Stormhammer.
It's a slight victory already, though, for Beast Coast up top. Gojira gets the block on the small camp and also gets the D-ward as well, and the sentry that was already preemptively placed from Katomi. So that is going to further help out with the positioning of the lane here for Beast Coast.
Yeah, you'll see up on the top side as well, Pure is already at half mana because he threw out the hook really early on, because he wants to make sure that they're trying to get an early kill into this lane before you truly get that big power spike coming through from Beast Coast. And for them, that's level 2 or level 3. The lane's always going to be passively pushing into you, so you've got the option to be able to pull them back in. And well, Pure pump fakes the meat hook there on the top side, but isn't able to land it just yet. And with that Whisper, he's going to be able to get the levels he needs.
What are your... You mentioned about the Sven looking to play with the Pudge up top. Do you like that they have forced Sansa into the Abaddon lane now, though? Because you can purge off the Arcane Curse.
Yeah, maybe it... Oh, Toby is actually under a little bit of strife here. I wonder if it means that they're going to go for a little bit more of an aggressive move. Does he dive under the tower? Ooh, doesn't seem like it. Yeah, do you go or point into the W instead, just to try and harass him out from afar, start to steal away some of that intelligence, and mean that you can't actually get a lot of these, you know, the Aphotic Shield and the Mistcoil off?
Top lane, Gojira. He's going to be able to toss Pure away, so won't be able to find the hook to keep up with the Tiny. It does look like Fishman also has gone for a point in the last word as well, so nothing the Glaives just yet. We'll keep an eye on kind of his skill build and how he looks to address the lane, but already, as soon as Curse is used, instantly dispelled with the shield.
I mean, part of it is comfort as well. This is Beast Coast's first series at TI, and Stinger is someone that really loves playing the Abaddon, so maybe they just wanted to give him some comfort super early on to ease their way into the tournament. Stormstormer getting a little bit dived here by C-Smile in the mid lane. Multiple points in the Venomous Scale. Does he have the... Yeah, he's got a magic stick coming out to him as well. Again, against the Leshrac, you want to be constantly spamming this lane out just to secure a lot of that farm. You don't care if it pushes back into you, because then you're just able to farm a little bit more safely against a Venomancer that can consistently go for these kill attempts.
Yeah, what do you feel like the role is for the Venomancer in a game like this for Beast Coast? How does he kind of fit into their lineup?
I think it's just important to make sure that the Leshrac doesn't get a lot of that early net worth, and you're able to get a bunch of these denies out. It means that you're not going to have as much tower taking potential on Entity's side, which is really important to open up the map, obviously gain objectives, prevent the TB from scaling quite as much. And then as well, just in terms of the TB scaling, with a Venomancer, if you're mid lane...
Oh, Gojira, the tower's going to get him instead. Beautifully done. So the Stormhammer into the hook from Pure.
The Venomancer, if you're playing it in the mid lane, you're not sharing experience with anyone, right? So you're able to get multiple points into the Plague Wards and really protect an area quite heavily, so that Entity need to full-on commit. And, you know, we've seen what happens if people walk into a choke point topside. Whisper's getting dived.
Whisper might be in trouble. Yeah, Malefic's not really going to do much to hold them back, especially onto Katomi, so Pure gets another kill. Gojira's going to try and step in to get the combo up, but only one level in both, so it won't even be enough damage if the spells are used.
Pretty good start coming out here from Entity on the top side. 3 kills so far, able to keep these lanes pulled out. Showing their flexibility as well with being able to move around Fishman and Katomi to have a decent enough time.
Interesting. The medallion picked up here from Whisper up top. We don't really see this item, especially with the rush into the Wraith Pack that's so often picked up, so we'll see if that's going to be able to mitigate a lot of the advantage they have from Warcry.
Yeah, that's that's part of it. You also often see, you know, Enigmas, maybe they go and earn just for a little bit more of that passive mana regen in the lane, but I don't hate it, you know. If you're able to get those effective Avalanche Toss combos off, then you reposition it so that they're fighting underneath your Eidolons, and then all of that minus armor suddenly leads to an actual kill, as opposed to them running away because of the impact of the Warcry.
Oh, Toby! Not the reflection! Oh, just able to scurry away. This bottom lane, a lot of harassment's being dealt here between either side. K1 also falling incredibly low as well. It's going to go back into the Cinder Brew. No one's able to finally secure this kill. Entity have got 3, but none of them down bottom just yet.
I mean, the thing I'm most impressed about from Entity's side here is that Fishman is doing a great job of keeping this net worth up for himself. You know, you compare his net worth to Stinger's, he's got basically double, because he's not having to constantly expend these mana resources to be able to harass down the Abaddon, whereas he's just an aphotic shield bot right now. Really helped out by the Ring of Basilius brought up by Toby. He's going into the energy booster next for the arcane boots, so it's just going to really enable them to try and take over this lane.
And it looks like with all the action we're getting in the side lanes, kind of the back and forth spells getting traded, no supports are going to try and rotate to try and secure the power rune, so Stormstorm is not even going to go scout this one out as well. So it looks like C-Smile will be working with an Invis rune.
Not really the fastest hero though. I think unless it's a haste, you don't make that rotation towards the side lanes, so it's more about just denying it away from Stormstormer. Doesn't have any points in the Plague Ward yet, surprisingly enough, so maybe he's going to go for those solo pickoffs against Stormstormer, especially now that he de-warded the Observer, not giving quite as much and playing around the fear of the unknown for Entity.
What a great start they are.
Try and get a double creep wave up, perhaps, and use that to enable a dive underneath the tower. Looks like they're fighting a little bit on the top side as well.
Kujira keeps Katomi into place. Pure's going to try and chase down Whisper, though, separating the Enigma for the bonus damage, and Pure's going to be rewarded with a kill thanks to this. And Katomi will still escape. Oh, the ward place from Gojira gives him just enough vision to find the toss. So in the end, they will be able to get a trade nonetheless, but it is still a call going down for Beast Coast, and Pure already starting to get some stacks in the flesh heap.
It is important, but I'd say it's even more important just to make sure that you're having a solid enough start on this Tiny. You know, to get a solo kill there, very key. And now they're just going to be consistently spamming out their abilities, right? Kind of similar to what we saw on the bottom side of the map. Basilius, Arcane Boots, and they're just going to keep trying to harass Pure as much as possible.
I wonder what entity they're going to try and do to address C-Smile, because, well, this could be the play. Wait for him to dive deep under the tower and just wrap around with an extra member. Because they don't even require Fishman to TP in. It was just Stormer with the assistance of Katomi to get a big kill, because C-Smile was really starting to get out of control in this mid lane.
Yeah. Him going for the solo kill with that skill build was the only option for himself. Is Katomi going to get away again? Even just gives him another whack in the face before running away. Just, you know, letting him know about it. I mean, this is the power of the Sven support. Gonna look to go for an attempt here onto K1. Stinger playing back effectively enough. Doesn't want to make sure that he's the one getting caught out at the start of these engagements. And they do still land that nice Arcane Curse off, though, on Fishman. Lots of harassment coming out from K1.
See how weak they are down bottom. Entity's still got a little bit of mana to work with as well, but it's mid lane where C-Smile once again is going to be in trouble. 2 back-to-back kills on the Venomancer, who is just botting Stormer, who is potentially going to get another kill as well. Gojira will toss him away, get some distance out to the right side. Stormer's got a clarity and a bottle sip to work with, so not a whole lot of mana for the moment. He's got to be relying on the right clicks, and Gojira, they got the vision on the high gun, so they know exactly where the Tiny is looking to escape from. And all of a sudden, Stormer has more net worth than the Veno.
Yeah, I mean, if you play this Veno lane, you want to make sure that you're going to win the lane. Like, it's very hard to not do it, but with the assistance coming through from the rest of the team, that's what really turned the tide. We've seen very minimal rotations coming through from both the Abaddon as well as the Tiny. Kind of to be expected, right? Like, Tiny plus Enigma, super strong for the top side of the map. Abaddon, if he leaves bottom lane, K1 dies, and your win condition is suddenly put in the bin. So, understandable why that's been the choice, but I mean, this is what happens in response.
Alright, smoke up from Entity. Katomi and Stormer in combination together. They're going to look to try and go play bottom, because Toby does have the ultimate as well, so this is a big window now. If Entity get a kill with the primal split, they can easily secure the tower, but no one's home, so they might just... Well, they actually don't have any points in Edict, so they might have some difficulties.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they could look to wait for the siege creep to come down. They're still under the cover of smoke, and they've seen K1.
K1. It's a big target. Sunder's already used prior. Double stun. Easy set up here from Stormer to enter him. C-Smile's going to try and hit back. A hasted up Venomancer can easily get onto Katomi. It's going to be able to land a big ultimate onto 3 members as well. Let's see if they can drag this fight out long enough to get full usage out of the ulti. Well, look for the deny. Not going to be there, unfortunately, for them. A 1-for-1. It looks like Entity just wanting to retreat away. Stormer will TP out. Toby might have to use the ultimate defensively. And that's... Oh, no. Was that the ulti that he...
Yeah, he tried to.
The shield?
Yeah, the shield just popped at the exact time to be able to kill him. Unfortunate, but it happens.
I have not heard that. People haven't been spamming that voice line. I was quite surprised.
Bro, it's literally... I think it's nearly sold more than Effie's.
In the games that we've been casting, I should say. Because, yeah, I saw that stat as well. Slacks is... sold some hefty voice lines. I mean, yeah, he's a god gamer. It's understandable. Oh, what's the play coming up shortly here for Beast Coast? Do we feel like they're probably just waiting on the Wraith Pact until they maybe start playing with the Enigma, or can they look to get active a little bit earlier on?
I think they could potentially look to get active, but the thing is, I kind of want to see a point in the Midnight Pulse. It seems pretty damn value against these tanky-ish heroes, you know, the Brewmaster, the Sven, the Pudge. And, well, they're actually going to go for a dive here onto Pure, but again, without the Midnight Pulse, you can't break the trees. Pure's able to get back to relative safety, gives time for the team to potentially rotate through. He's even got the Vanguard for his own survivability, so just going to wait for an overcommitment to come through from Beast Coast. And, yeah, this is the other aspect that I was talking about with a Plague Ward, right? It's only got 1 point into it. So, sure, it gives vision, but you've just given Pure, like, 5 free last hits underneath his tower, and they give a good amount of experience, too. So, it doesn't really set up to defend an area that much at all.
I like what they're doing, at least from Beast Coast. Just kind of the slow poke from afar. They're not trying to commit onto the tower where Pure and the TPs could come into play to turn it around. Now that the tower's about to die, they're going to continue to move on forward, but already Fishman's in a position to help turn around along with Toby's TP. They're doing such an incredible job to play the distance of the team fight, and once they have the opening, they can now close and get multiple members killed off as C Smile, with another person, and is brought down. Entity, off to a very good start, 2,000 net worth lead.
Giving up 2 cores for that, obviously not worth it. Well, doesn't feel worth it. You have to keep in mind that despite how well Pure's been playing the laning stage, K1 is keeping up. You know, he was constantly being harassed out by this silencer in the laning stage, and I mean, he's still only 700 or so net worth behind. That top tier 1 tower going down frees up a couple more camps for him to play with, although he might look to play a little bit more towards bot side, considering, you know, that's the next big objective for Entity to take. They haven't been able to secure a tower for themselves just yet.
You even see with K1's positioning that he's nearby in case a fight breaks out if he wants to show up with the meta.
But they know.
He's back and forth.
They know, though. They've got the vision underneath the outposts, so they're going to be able to respond effectively if he does look to commit onto that and play accordingly around that. See, already having the Aghanim Shard queued up here on Kotomi. He's got enough farm to be able to have impact on this specialty position 4 Sven of his. So formidable. I'm sure he was even considering using the Stormhammer onto those Eidolons just to enable Pure to get up into that Aghanim Scepter timing super early on.
It's a big
go
rune.
For a dive here. Gojira, bottom side, getting pushed underneath the tower. He's doing a nice job of juking him out though. Keeping away.
He is.
Making sure that the hook isn't able to connect. Will Pure be able to land it? Doesn't seem like it. Alright. Delaying the game enough, and they actually get a kill in exchange onto the silencer. So maybe looking to play a little bit more around this mid lane, not going to be up for 20 seconds. If they can take this mid tower right now, then of course the threat of the black hole is always there.
That's a big objective they're going to be able to find. A bottom lane action continues out at the moment. We'll see if Whisper's going to be able to step in. Sansa's down for a little bit, so they have the potential for the black hole. It might not be required as Pure is just completely surrounded. They're even going to block him in with the Plague Lords as well. They get another touch.
No way.
TP out. The Global Assault's covering the TP. At least they'll get Kotomi. So they'll find one. Tower doesn't go down mid as well, so Entity, not the worst sequence of events. It was looking bad to start.
What the hell, man? How did Pudge live? Just the flesh heap, the Vanguard. Doesn't really care about all these Plague Wards. They do basically nothing to him. They just waited long enough. 25 seconds. Toby might end up falling down here, or at least have the ultimate forced out.
No hesitation. Whisper's just like, alright, let me just jump forward. We know the silence is on cooldown. Let me just drop the ultimate, which can now help secure a tier 1 tower. K1 might be in some trouble though. A smoke from Entity. They've got the ward as well to scout out his pathing. Slow's going to be able to lead up for the hook. He does get the Sunder off, however, early on. And Stinger, that's going to buy enough time for the Abaddon to TP in. They will still be able to close the distance and bring down the Terrorblade. Now they can look to deal with the Abaddon next. But the reinforcements are starting to show up in C Smile. With the Venomancer nearby, Entity need to get out of the area. They're going to attempt with a TP and Fishman will make it. Go back in? Yeah, they're going to try and attempt that. The Spirit Vessel might catch them off guard though. Pure needs to respect this. Again, another TP. Where's your stuns? Oh no, everyone's just TPing out in front of them.
Yeah, you got 3 heroes with no way to stop that TP out, right? As long as that Avalanche Toss combo is used, Enigma was showing on the bottom lane. Feels very comfortable just to get on out. And, I mean, Stormstormer nearly ended up ticking down to 1 HP from that Poison Nova. But, I mean, that Spirit Vessel plus the Poison Nova going to be very effective against the Pudge. Of course, Flesh Heap going to block up a lot of it, but the percent damage once the Flesh Heap isn't available, really going to do him a huge amount of work for staying alive. But I mean, we talked about it in the draft, and we talked about it a few minutes ago, that all he needs is a little bit of space, and Hector is able to just quintuple his net worth, it feels. He's completely taken over number 1. He's farming up this ancient camp right at the 17-minute mark to get the next big item timing for himself, which is the Brigand's Blade. I assume he's going to keep it. Might just look to keep the extra mana regen coming through from himself, but I mean, the man just farms like a machine.
That he does. That he does indeed. And beastcoast doing a very good job to continue making space, but some heroes might go down at the cost of this. Primal split used from Toby. Gonna be able to get the kill onto the Tiny. His nice Marco as well will send Stinger up into the air. So gonna try and target down with the Abaddon at the moment. He's got the ultimate to work with. A bigger kill though occurs mid lane with C-Smile going down. So Entity, multiple plays occurring across the map. I mean, it will come at a cost of, I believe, Silence's life if Stinger can just get in range for that last punch. It's gonna go for a deny instead, but these poor old small creeps do not have as much damage as what he would be hoping.
Had it reduced by the Wraith Pact, that's why. Yeah, they would have done it otherwise.
Goddamn Wraith Packs, man. Such a great item still. Oh, even a DD now for Mr. Pure. Almost has Scepter completed, but where do we feel like... Who's happy with the status quo of this game at the moment? Because Entity are more than doubling the kills at beastcoast, but they only have a 1,000 net worth lead.
Yeah, but like... For beastcoast, how much have they really lost? You know, they've lost a tier 1 tower bottom, and Hector is just still farming. He's going to decide when he is going to make a lot of these aggressive plays, and you can see that's what the warding is protecting. This isn't some super deep wards. They're not ready to go for ganks right now on beastcoast. They're static. They just want to keep as much of their map as possible, and they're doing that by the positioning of their heroes, all standing, essentially blocking off the kill avenue attempts onto K1. And then even when he goes out a little bit further like this, he could just use his illusions for this pushing purpose.
See when Katomi's D-warding, C-Smile is chucking up the ping that says ill with a pill emoji. Very interesting.
Very unhappy. Give me my vision. Is this an Aghanim Scepter actually completed up here from Toby? So you're consistently going to be able to have this Dispel Magic available, not even just relying on your ultimate to be able to have an impact against the Venomancer and against the Terrorblade. This is actually a phenomenal pickup here coming through from Toby. Super relevant to this game. Yeah,
another Scepter's also picked up as well with Pure, so... Unfortunately, a little bit too late for them to get set up with a formation to protect their tier 1 tower. So an objective going the way of beastcoast, but we'll see what Entity look to do, because I feel like they are definitely in fighting shape with these items now.
Yeah, but do they have ways to influence it, right? Like, you don't have any points in the cleave on the Sven, so you can't really push out lanes that effectively. Pudge needs to commit into the middle of the lane to do it. Brewmaster, kind of slow. It's really only Stormstormer on his Lesh that's going to be able to do it. And, I mean, he doesn't really have an easy way to join in these team fights. No boots of travel. He's just trying to get that quickest possible efficiency for the Bloodstone.
Pure will be able to run into the Abaddon. Again, Sting with a borrowed time. Just looking to make some space, because again, K1 is freely farming. And I feel really, the timing for him is going to be this Skadi. Once he has this item, he's going to feel a little bit happy with being able to show up to some of these fights.
He will indeed. But at that time, Pure's probably going to have his Blink Dagger. And, you know, maybe you find the pick off onto, well, I don't know, a key target like the Venomancer, for example, just to be able to catch him off guard. This is the power of those Plague Wards, right? Completely seals off an area. Pure feels satisfied enough with being able to go in, but the rest of his team just cannot join him. Need to rely on Stormstormer's damage coming through here into the mid lane, and they actually go for a smoke. Not sure if they got scouted out.
Link just got completed on Whisper as well, so eyes on how he can get into the fight. Very difficult with the potential of the Global Silence. Stinger doesn't have his ultimate. That's a big killer now. Now you can get full control of this area. It's instantly Entity just run towards the triangle and try and push back beastcoast.
Yeah, and they also take the tower at the same time. The only way that they had the potential to do that was with the Diabolic Edict, and Chris Luck's wards did a great job of stalling that one out, but just a pick off a couple of seconds too early ends up costing beastcoast a tower and potentially another hero. Gojira thrown up into the air.
It looks like Entity are well aware they just want to continue running across the map. They instantly TP'd 2 heroes to try and cut off the movements from the Tiny, and now they're going to go to the triangle as well. This is where beastcoast pretty much K1 for the entirety of the game have been playing, and now Whisper's there at the moment as well. So if you can try to take this area of the map out of the hands of Radiant, then it's a lot of the farm that they won't be able to acquire. Mid lane? Stormstormer set up onto C-Smile. A lot of damage with the combination out. He'll be able to pop the Poison Nova, so maybe the rest of beastcoast can look to enter the fight, but they will be down the Venomancer to help out.
I was thinking maybe they were looking to go for the pick off there just with the Blink Dagger in on the Enigma, but of course you're up against a Silencer. You can't look to do that consistently, or they've wasted the meta if they're able to get away.
To Katomi. Great use of the micro though from Toby. Constant cyclones just making it so difficult for Beast Coast ever to get into the middle. And they're going to move back in. They've got a great ward on the high gun for Dai to play with, so Pure gets the hook onto Stinger. Gojira with the instant counter initiation. It's a global silence used early, so the Enigma might be free to jump into the fight. We have to keep tabs on Whisper, but already down multiple members and now potentially the Terrorblade as well. He's got a BKB to work with here on K1. Gojira still is going to jump on forward, trying to deal with Fishman. The damage isn't there, but there's Whisper. But he won't get a long duration of the black hole off. Instantly stopped in its tracks. It's going to be up to K1's right clicks to turn the team fight back around. But he doesn't have enough in the arsenal. As Pure's got the dismember to lock him into place. And our Entity, they can go for more kills. An Ultra for the punch. And maybe a Rampage if he can land the hook. But the rest of the boys will finally deal with the Venomenter, making it a 5-man wipe in the end.
Toby's been the MVP for me this entire game. Like, even just little things. Obviously, you mentioned the Cyclone onto the Abaddon, taking out a lot of that control in the super early stages. He was the one playing around that vision, getting the slow up. He's got 8 urn charges as well, so you're always going to be able to pop your Cinder Brew. But more importantly, he was doing small things all throughout that fight, like using the Dispel magic on his Primal Companion to dispel off the reflection. He was the one that enabled them to continuously fight, to have those Blink Daggers available because you're not consistently taking damage.
See, it's a very interesting dance that we're getting in these fights, kind of the back and forth. No one's really heavily committing until there's this slight opening.
Did they even get any kills? Fishman died. That's it. You know,
Did he cancel Black Hole and Whisper?
I kind of felt like it, didn't it?
I think he did. I'd have to go back and watch it again another time, but I really think he did. Toby? It's be a big pickoff if they can find onto the Brewmaster. Ultimate's on cooldown, so we can't use it defensively. That is an opening now. Meta up shortly should be Roche.
Yeah. I'd say if you're Entity, this is probably a bit of a higher priority for yourselves because, you know, you're up against the black hole. This is something that you want to try and take away. They see Fishman briefly reveal himself underneath that vision. Back off immediately. Nice 4-star Fishman.
Oh, Pure's actually in. Jumping the Tiny. C-Smile's going to get a great ultimate out, but can they continue to take the fight in this vicinity? Pure's going to try and avoid it to the right. Stepping out of harm's way, but Whisper's got the follow. Malefice is there. They need K1's right-click damage, but it's not enough for the moment. Continuing to stack it up, Pure's able to get the 4-stuff out to safety, so K1's going to lock onto Katomi instead. They'll deal with the Sven, but Beast Coast have heavily committed deep inside Entity's territory. If they don't get out freely, then Entity, they can start to go back in and cut them off.
Blink,
we'll see them cycling up the Abaddon, and there's Pure in with the Dismember. The follow-up onto Stormsummer. Just a back and forth that Entity are doing, sidestepping Beast Coast consistently in their fights. Their retreating is on point, and whenever they see an opening, they jump on it.
Do indeed. I mean, Pure able to survive on that 1 HP. I mentioned how effective that Poison Nova is, but you got to make sure you've got some other damage ticking onto him. The Plague Wards, the Poison Sting, it never connected through, and they just don't have any other damage on the back end of that. I don't think they really have the potential to go into this Roshan. They don't feel quite so safe. Right-click damage isn't their strength right now. It's all just about playing around, denying it away from Beast Coast, and playing around their vision, open up the map for Stormstormer to be the true pusher for your team.
Interesting. I was just looking to see K1's item build because it really feels like his damage is lacking at the moment. He's has a Mage Slayer queued up. So we'll see if he's going to complete the Scardy or the Mage Slayer next. But yeah, there's some big issues with kind of the damage that we're getting out of Beast Coast.
Yeah, but it also reduces the damage of whoever you're hitting, right? So suddenly the Rod isn't as big of an issue, the Pulse Nova, same sort of thing.
Speaking about the Rod, Pure. Gonna play around with Stinger. Beast Coast are behind him at the moment. Let's see if they're gonna try and take the fight to protect the Abaddon. Just some abilities are gonna chuck out from afar, but not too heavily committing to keep Stinger alive. Top lane, another kill from Stormstormer though. A solo this time onto Gojira is going to look for a blind TP out, but Storm is way too far ahead. 10-0 and 10 off the back of the rough lane, and back to mid. Pure is going to jump with the tree lane onto C Smile. Just this Venomants are really struggling to have a difficult time to enter this game. 8 deaths for the position 2 Veno.
Yeah, I mean, it's all off the back of 1 or 2 solo kill attempts in that mid lane not going completely to plan, right? And, I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse. The solo pick-off threat coming through is enormous. They should be able to see. Yep, there we go.
Kitomi is going to be perfect with the Storm Hammer. The full duration stun lock. This is looking very scary now for Beast Coast, and it's not like there's this potential BKB black hole to turn the game around. There will always be an answer with the global silence.
Even going to get the E-Blade coming out shortly for Pure as well. Like, does he actually have it finished? He does. So now, what are you supposed to do against a lot of this burst damage coming through, not just from him, but the Leshrac too?
Yeah, I'm really trying to see an avenue back in here for Beast Coast. Just feels like all the itemization looks perfect for Entity.
Yeah, I mean,
Zag shot on.
You were mentioning, sorry, before how important the Skadi timing was for K1, and he went away from that to be able to have the BKB instead. He probably had almost enough money to be able to pick it up, but it just feels like he felt a lot more hindered by what Leshrac was able to do. But if you're not going Skadi, the later stages of the game really feel a lot weaker. They're going to find another solo pick off here onto Gojira.
It just looks like very clean Dota from Entity. Their itemization to where they're positioning to how they're taking team fights. Now to this ward and the fight they're eventually going to take inside the base. There's Pure, just no hesitation. Onto the Enigma. The Global Silence will cover the killer's ball, preventing the Abaddon from keeping him alive. And they're just kiting K1. Constant use of the Cyclones, making it so difficult for the Terrorblade really to get any damage going.
Stormer feels confident enough to dive the base and gets hooked out by Pure. It's a save, don't worry about it. Easy.
Oh yes, it's the save indeed, as Pure is now into the Terrorblade, the double stun, and that's probably all she wrote. Entity inside the base, another hook from Pure onto Stinger. It's taking up a little bit of damage. Gojira's gonna try and get the combo, but they don't even have enough to blow up the silencer. Fishman lives, so does Pure. Finally the shield will tick him out. But Entity just looking so clean in this game 1, and now the objective's gonna be claimed afterwards.
Yeah, no glyph. No heroes. Don't think you're going to go for a 5-man black hole here unless you're just about to call GG on Whisper, but seems like he just needs to wait for the rest of his team. A solid 20 seconds that they'll have to be able to come back into this one. Tier 2 towers still standing bot and top, so one lane's all they're going to get, and, well, they just call it anyway. Not even a potential, like, victory copium black hole? Come on, man.
No, I don't even want to have the last attempt. So they are out, and I don't know how these cameras in Entity. What's going on? There we go. All right. Throne blows up. Entity, what an incredible game 1 performance from them. It was just a very beautiful game of Dota, I really think, from them.
Yeah, they didn't reinvent the wheel. You know, a Fishman Silencer, a Katomi Sven, a Toby Brewmaster, Pure playing his Pudge, and Storm, he's been playing a lot more of the Leshrac recently, so I'm happy to see that clearly it feels like it might be a bit of a comfort starting to come